umntwana alilela umamakhe wamthatha wambeka esifubeni sakhe wathi thula sana lwam wathi thula sana lwam. Hello, Dumelang, Sanbonani, Absheng. My name is Mariki Bothma, Ntomza Mazulu, Zindli Ntomza se KZN, all the way from KZN, but currently here in Midrand, Joburg, at Galaxy Universal Network, Starset Channel 500, and on our Facebook page, Galaxy Universal Network. Welcome to a brand new show called Scars. We all have a history. You may be the victim, yet you are alive. You are the survivor. You are the overcomer. You are the conqueror of your past and of your pains. The show is all about you sharing your stories, you sharing your life experiences. We're going to show people out there whether you've been abused mentally, physically, emotionally. We have all been affected by abuse. The show will consist of from bullet survivors to cancer survivors to people living with disabilities to ex-convicts. No story will be too big or too small to be shared on this platform. Do join us every Saturday, 11 to 12, right here on Galaxy Universal Network. But we also do have a few surprises for you in store. Every Saturday, 11 to 12, Galaxy Universal Network. Walala wasala. See you there.
So welcome back. This is still Pan-African Morning News right here on Galaxy Universal Network. And of course, we are having, one of the pioneers, in the media space, Ntate Mapote. He's worked for Kaya FM, he's worked for Metro FM, SABC, you can name it. And he is on Skype with us right here on Galaxy Universal Network. Dr. Rams, good morning.
You are funny. You are so funny. Good morning to you.
Professor, Doctor, Honorable. What is the other title that we haven't called? I mean, Chief.
You can add pastor.
Yeah, pastor. No. Pastor is not. It's General Overseer, Bishop, Deacon. That is the best. I mean, speaking to somebody that has, so many years in the media industry, Rams, we really are honored this morning to be joined by you, talking about the very, very important issues in the media space. And we know that media is actually power. A very good morning to you and welcome to Galaxy Universal Network.
Thank you very much and good morning to you.
Thank you. Now, having to go straight to the point, of course, we also know, the role of media that it is playing it's either in building someone or destroying someone. What is your take in our current days? We're looking at the issue of COVID-19. How have the media played a role in either, changing people's lifestyles and impacting them either positively or negatively?
Look, I don't think the role of the media has changed. What probably would have changed over the years is the pace of the media, is the focus of the media, but the role remains the same. It's just reporting. If the media could remember that its primary role is to report events to its audiences. And I think that when it comes to COVID in particular, if we did not have the media, if we did not have you, half of what we know we would not be knowing. So the media has been very, very important in transferring information to us about COVID and what we need to know. Where it gets tricky, it's opinion media. It's when media starts taking a view, is when there is a view of government or the other party that the media focuses on as opposed to the other. And the issues then of COVID get caught up in opinion and most of the time in politics.
Yes.
Then I, as a consumer, get to lose out because somebody does not like Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, or somebody likes Dr. Zweli Mkhize more than they like the MCC, whatever it is, or the DA speaks louder than the other and we like their voice more than we like the voice of other parties, that becomes a problem.
Yes.
Yet, as a consumer, I must be smart enough to decipher and to cut through the nonsense and find where the truth is. There are so many platforms. I mean, I'm so happy for your platform. It means that I can wake up in the morning and choose another platform to listen to another view. That's the greatness of the media. We don't have to listen to one view all the time.
Now, yeah, you wanted to ask?
No, I just wanted to say, programs, you know, with a press ombudsman, right? What role does it have, or rather, what role does it play, especially when it comes to all these false stories that are always reported, and then when a lot of people would still go to press ombudsman, and then still nothing is happening? What usually happens is that the very same press that probably wrote that negative story about someone, they will always come back, you know, and only write an apology of about 3 or 4 lines, and when you complain, they tell you to go to the press ombudsman. Do you think that I mean, is it the right platform to go and complain to or to lay a charge on?
In fact, you know, I'll let you know this part. I think the press ombudsman is probably the second most busiest ombudsman in the country after the public protector. It is a very busy ombudsman. What is strange is that the reports of the ombudsman are not reported on. But so many people use the press ombudsman, and rightfully so. Now, the good news is the rules of the Ombud changed about 3 or 4 years ago. And the rules say, if you wrote something false about me, you are going to apologize on the same page where you wrote the false story, dedicate the same length of column centimeters that you dedicated to the wrong story about me, and then publish the whole ombudsman report in your publication. So that there's no longer 3 lines. That's no longer allowed. They used to do that and get away with murder. It doesn't happen anymore. So don't worry, if they get it wrong, go to the ombudsman. It takes a slightly longer because it's a private organization that's not state funded. So cases get a bit longer to be resolved, but they resolve a lot of issues and people get justice through the ombudsman.
Fake news, Prarams, is leading in most of the cases. Like, for an example, today we woke up to the news of a young woman, a 10-year-old, that was killed in, I think it's in the Western Cape. But then the picture of that girl, the story has been verified that the story is true. There's a 10-year-old that was killed, of course, stabbed 10 times and raped, of course. But the image that was used of this girl is another girl who is alive and well. And on top of that, there are people already that are online requesting for crowdfunding for the supposed family to have a funeral for this particular girl that is on the picture. And the family is like, hey, Ingane Ilana is alive. How are we dealing with this type of fake media or fake news that is quite very much frequent on our social media platforms especially?
Well, actually, I also woke up to some fake news that Michelle Obama is actually a man. I don't know if you guys have seen the story. There's a huge
yes. I was actually talking about it yesterday.
So, you know, I think, and at the risk of not getting the next invite to your platform, I'm going to say this, that the media disappoints me when it comes to fake news.
Except this one, so let's clarify that one.
The chase of a scoop is the biggest crime that the media is guilty of. Because we don't want to be left behind by other platforms, we also want to be the first to report. So we take any nonsense that we pick up from anybody that we have not verified and we republish. You see, nowadays, everybody with a phone, my friends, is a reporter. Now, you don't need to go to a school of journalism or to work for your platform. Anybody with a phone can go outside and take a picture and then post it 3 weeks later and say something just happened now and create their own stuff. And then the media reports or repeats that as a report. And that's why we get fake media. Is because we are all chasing a scoop. We don't want to be left behind. We don't want to be the last not to report a particular story.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, actually, the trick going forward with the media is to stop worrying about hard news. Hard news is now in the hands of everybody with a phone. The media must now look at analysis and try to find out more why things happen. the scoops are going to lead us to so many fake news stories forever, because that's what people do. People get bored, and they also want to be famous for nonsense.
Yeah.
Some people don't even do fake news. I mean, I was so disappointed by a public figure yesterday who used a hashtag or somebody who was killed to promote an iPhone. I mean, that was so shallow.
Oh gosh, let us name and shame her. Her name is Faith.
But I posted, I thought I told her this is very low.
Her name
You
is
don't
Faith,
do
and
it.
it's not the first
But
time
that's
she
how
does
they
that.
become,
Yeah.
You know, but that's what happens. That's what happens. Everybody with a phone, and they call themselves influencers now. I mean, that word really gets me cold, an influencer.
And I
don't know.
find that,
That's
Rams, you know, these days a lot of even journalists and editors, and now they also want to be celebrities, you know. I always say that, you know, they must just learn to speak, you know, to stick to their
Profession.
to their profession. But then you find that a whole lot of them now, I don't know why they want to be known. And, you know, what is your take on that, you know, of all these now journalists and editors who are now wanting to be, you know, in the front, to be seen now as celebrities? Because they also go out there now and they also do, you know, what's this, newspaper and in magazine shoots and all. What is your take on that?
Look, look. I'm slightly old school, so I probably won't be famous for what I'm going to say, but it's fine. I started my journalism 30 years ago, and we were taught you are never the story. Never the story. In fact, even in whatever you publish, you never use me, you stay away from the pictures, you don't sing when everybody sings, you just focus on the story. Yeah, but now everybody wants to be a celebrity, everybody wants followers. You know, we're all crazy to reach 100,000, 1 million followers. We are on Instagram, you know, we Gabatia, you know, gonna show our smacks and stuff like that. Saddest story, because you know, imagine, let's take a politician. No, politicians are worse. Let's take a priest. If a priest forgot what their primary role is, which I believe it is to lift people's spirits up and make them feel better about the life they lead, and the priest focused on themselves, what about the congregants? And that's what the media is failing to do now, because everybody wants to be a celebrity. But, you know, I don't know, maybe it's the sign of the times. I don't know. I'm old. I've given up. I don't belong in that world anymore.
Yeah. How do we, as maybe consumers, be able to, you know, see that this is not real news, this is fake news? How do consumers, when you read the story, what are the signs that one has to look into to say, no, I don't think this is a story that I need to promote?
The first rule is the oldest rule in the world. If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. That's the first rule. You must just think, but this sounds too good to be true. The second rule, guys, is that we live in the age of amazing technology. You can double check, you can triple check, you can quadruple check. Just Google. I get worried when somebody repeats stuff that we can all see that it's wrong.
Yeah, sorry, Prarams, let me just jump in there. When you say that you can just Google. Now, let's say I am finding a story on social media, and as you said earlier, that even reputable publications, they republish things that are actually fake news. So now I am a consumer, I'm double checking the story that I probably see on maybe a certain news, maybe on social media. And when I'm checking, it's available on different media publications. And because you see the story of the supposed death of the former, the deputy president. It was published by many publications. Now, people were even saying, rest in peace. There was a voice note that was going around of somebody who was closer to him, supposedly. So now, how do I, as a consumer, realize that no, it doesn't mean that if I see it on a certain media platform, it is actually true?
Well, I said to you first, ask yourself, you know, say to yourself, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. But the second part is, you have to ask yourself, what have I got to gain or lose by repeating this thing?
Yes.
I can always read it and look away and really wait until, you know, the government communications and information systems issues a statement and says the president is late or the deputy president is late. But what's the rush? Why do we all want to be going out there and telling the world and killing people and changing people's genders and exaggerating people's wealth and raping people that are not raped and unraping people who are raped, which is so horrific when somebody has gone through a tragedy and you lighten it up? I'm saying just wait just wait until there's an official statement. It doesn't harm anybody to wait slightly longer.
Well, I also find that, let's talk about, the role of women, in the media space. I find that, a lot of young journalists, especially women, they're the ones that are sent on the field and, on anchoring, but not on top positions like, when you go to editors and all. There's actually a fewer women who are in top positions in the media space. Do you think maybe that in that case there is a space for women to be in top positions in media?
I've been asked this question before, and I'll tell you that research will show you that there's a lot of top women in the media. I'm going to give you a few. Nobisa Makunga, Sowetan editor, Zingisa Mkuma, Sunday Independent, Patiso Makopeni, SABC, Sherry N, Daily Dispatch, Kadisha Patel, Mail and Guardian, Katie Katapori's Newsroom Africa. The two of you, there's lots. So that's not where the issue is. My biggest gripe about the media and women is how the media represents women. The media continues to represent women as second-class citizens, as people who are the other. The media is still male-dominated in its focus of how it does stuff. That is my problem. It's not even the positions. You can give it to everybody. You can give anybody a position. But the representation of women in the media is a sorry story. It continues as though we are still in 1652, where women are cooks and cleaners of our homes, where we don't take their opinion and put it at the same level as we put men's opinion. We trivialize women. They only matter if they are so-called celebrities or gossip people, and the top stories. So if you look at the stories about the public protector, I hold no view for her. In fact, I can tell you now that I disagree with a lot of things that she does. But I worry that she only matters to the media when things go wrong. But nobody tells us about her story, her backstory. Who is this woman? Where did she grow up? What is great about her? Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma is portrayed during COVID as the devil and everybody else is angel. It's how we portray women in the media that makes me sick. It's not the positions. They do not matter. Because I've just mentioned to you the many women who are on top in the media space, but the portrayal of women remains sorry to tell.
Now, let's talk about Lize Gamda. Yes, of course, she was the only woman to obtain scholarship to study in Harvard University, whom Michelle Obama, or rather with, Michelle Obama and of course, Barack. Please tell us what happened to her now.
It's a sad story. So it was called the Nieman Fellowship that she went to. And other than her, everybody else who's gone is male to the Nieman Fellowship at Harvard. She was retrenched at the last newspaper she worked for, and if memory serves, the last newspaper she worked for was either the Sunday Independent or the Star, but it was in the independent newspaper space. She got retrenched. She started freelancing, and I think as we speak, she works for a platform called Conversation, where she's a senior associate editor there and writer. But if you look at somebody like Lizeka with what she has accomplished, in truth, she should be a top boss somewhere in the media, or a trainer of young people, especially young women in the media, and teaching them how to portray themselves and how to really promote the voice of the women in the space. And she's wasted. She's somewhere hidden in a small platform somewhere, because again, we live in this toxic masculinity where women remain the other, and we just fail to use people like her to create a better society that we should be.
Yeah, certainly. Let me say, journalism is no longer the same as it used to be. Growing up, aspiring to become a journalist because you see other people on television telling the story. I certainly remember that I used to even mimic Manalisi Duvase, and then and every time, even in primary school, when we'll be reading news, you read a truck fell and blah blah blah, and then the next thing I am Manalisi Dubas. I didn't care if he was a guy or what, just like So, but it is no longer the same as it used to be before. Journalists nowadays are bought. They don't tell the story of what it is. They tell what they are being told to tell. how do we create an environment for young people to aspire to become genuine reporters? That because the role of a journalist, I think it's one of the most powerful roles that you could find in a society, because it is to inform the society of what is happening. Without journalists, I don't think that we'll know what's happening in America. We would not know. America will never know what's happening in this country. But now it is a trade environment. How do we preserve these very important, responsibility of reporters?
Oh, I have bad news for you. I don't know if we can preserve. I honestly think that the future, or even the present, is different completely. I'm not sure that the world is in need of the reporters of 1980 or 1730, even when they were the old newspapers and stuff like that. I think we passed that stage. I've been arguing, and my friends who are journalists who are still in the trade, I tell them the world has changed, and technology has moved ahead, that we don't need anymore the who, what, when, where kind of journalists. Those days are gone. As I said to you, everybody with a telephone now is a reporter. So I can get information from anybody and everybody. When George Floyd was killed, it was not the media that reported first. It was somebody with a cell phone who recorded that and sent it to the world. What we need is the first rule of journalism, which is cynicism. We need people who still don't believe everything they hear, and they spend so much time verifying it, checking again, analyzing, asking the most difficult questions, and giving us a much stronger view on a story. That's what we need. We can't be having a lot of people who believe every nonsense they hear.
Yeah.
I remain a cynic. I promise you, I sit there and listen to the president every day and I think, yeah, right. Because I was trained that way. I'm like, I'm going to wait until and see if this is true. I'm not going to believe you because you said it because you're the president. We need that. That we still need. We need journalists that don't believe anybody.
Well, on another issue, Rams, I also find that, I want to understand, where is the role of the media, especially in reporting stories, of other countries, when our country is actually being reported, in other parts of Africa or maybe overseas. We always come out, as if we are this poor African, people from, I don't know, somewhere parts, in Africa. And also the very same stories that we are also receiving from other parts of the country. Right now, I will make an example, with Morocco. Everything that people are actually thinking about Morocco is this only deserted place with, people who are dusty and poor people. What should rather be our role as a media to make sure that, we sell ourselves in Africa, as people who are modernized, as people, who are like we are upmarket, not like we from some parts of, lost Africa with animals, all over, passing.
There's a famous joke that says, do you know how to turn a billionaire into a millionaire? Make them a media owner. Media is a very expensive space. So if you want to be poor, start a media organization. With respect to you guys, I love the fact that there's a new media organization. It's a very expensive space. So one of the reasons why we're not getting these stories is because it's so expensive to take a contingent of reporters and put them in the desert in Morocco and put them in the Horn of Africa in Ethiopia or Somalia and report genuine stories there. CNN can do it. It's worth billions of rands. Fox can do it. It's got all the money in the world. The Guardian in the UK can do that. The problem here is the money. And the money in this continent, sadly, is in the hands of politicians, as opposed to the money in the Western world, in the North, let's say in the global North, where the money is in the capitalist world. So they can create media and go out and report. So the governments in this continent who have the money do not want people to report stuff, so they will not support the media necessarily. Yeah. I would wish that if the three of us had the money and could create something so strong and plant reporters all over the continent, even if it's 6 reporters that cover the 54 countries of the continent and really portray what is happening. But it is going to cost us a lot of money, and I don't know if we have it. So that's the problem. The problem is money, it's not appetite.
Well, I think you have said a mouthful. In closing, what will be your message out there to our viewers at home? As you said, verify, verify, verify. But what else you could like to share with our viewers at home before we let you go, Mr. Rams?
Well, the good news is, and I'm going to tell these people everything, the good news is your phone has become a very powerful tool. Subscribe to everything you can subscribe to. I mean, how amazing. I'm talking to you now and I'm watching myself on my phone as I'm talking to you. There is so much opportunity that we have through technology. Use it responsibly, though. That's all I'm going to say. Please use technology responsibly.
So in closing, what's your handicap? Because I'm planning to take you up on a round of golf, of course, because I'm feeling that I might kind of, put you down and dust it.
Look, my handicap suffered a bit under COVID, but I remain an 8 handicapper. So good luck to you.
Well, you need luck. Good luck to you. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Rams. That was Rams speaking to us right here on Galaxy Universal Network, discussing the role of media and, the importance of focusing on verifying and telling the news, the correct news in this world that is, congested with fake news. We are going to take a very short break. When we're coming back, we've got more news and updates for you right here on Pan African Morning. Please still stay with us.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in 4th Industrial Revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.